Tell me about like your process when you do shoot. Like, do you have a home set? Do you go to the set? Like, how does that work? And then, your style, are you kind of like a, machine gun style with it, or are you just like more, one or two here and there and then go through it?
It's almost all of the above, but so we'll talk about set first. So starting out, my studio was my living room. And every time somebody would come over, I would move couches, move tables, everything out. I would just have an empty room. I actually had to cut about 4 inches off of the standard 107 inch 9 foot backdrop, so it would fit in my living room. And so that's the space that I was working with. But I made it work. I mean, I had a great window in that room. That's really where I learned direction of light and stuff like that. Like most people, I started out using natural light, shooting outside mostly. But then when I was in that room and I only had one direction of light, that's when I kind of realized, okay, I can turn this person and make it look like this. I can turn them this way and it looks like that. Right. That evolved. I didn't like people I didn't know coming to my house and where my kids live, that kind of thing. So I knew at some point I wanted to have some kind of office space, studio. I finally came along. I started renting places by the hour. And then about 2017, I had worked with a makeup artist here in town several times. She has a house in the Plaza District that the bottom floor was like her business, and she had a spare room. I reached out to her. She was like, I'm trying to decide what to do with this room, either make it an office or something. I was like, can I have a studio there? And we talked, and we actually ended up collaborating on a lot of projects, both commissioned and, just kind of creative stuff. So I worked out of that bedroom for, about 3 years. Yeah. And then in March of this year, through a kind of network of through a network of other people, I found this space downtown, just off of 13th and Broadway. And it's kind of exactly what I was looking for at the time. It's more of an industrial space. It's got a lot of room, a lot of high ceilings, that kind of thing. And so that's been my studio for almost a year now. I like having a studio. It gives me, a place to kind of, if anything, have a place to keep all my stuff. So
a set that's already up, and not have to break it down,
exactly,
rebuild, move everything back into the front room, and couch so the kids can watch TV.
Yeah, I mean, you'd spend a day just doing that, and even when I was renting, by the hour, if I had something that I wanted to use 4 lights on, I'd have to bring all that stuff with me, and that kind of stuff. But and then as far as shoots themselves go, it kind of depends on the person. Like headshots, it's pretty mundane, pretty just kind of deliberate, shooting. When I get a model in there, I'm not a spray and pray, type of person, but if they're moving, I'm shooting. Sure. And it's calculated. It's not just shoot from the hip and hope you get something. It's I want to capture as much as I can, because these kinds of shoots, we're going to shoot 1,000 frames, but we're going to use 20. So you want a variety, and so that kind of thing. I shoot tethered to a computer, so I can see exactly what's going on. It makes the workflow a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a great story in there, a great lesson in there too, because starting a business, you're working full time, you make your house work, right? You make what you have work. Absolutely. Until you find, and then you collaborate, and then you finally get your own spot. That's just the progression of, you have all these people listening that think, I want a photography studio now, and they haven't even got a paid gig yet. Right. And you're just like, that's just the natural progression. I mean, it would have been great to have the money, right? I'm sure, to buy a studio, but then you kind of miss all the key steps of learning and growing and getting used to, that entrepreneurial time and the growth of starting a business, right? You miss all those key lessons.
Yeah. I mean, most, small businesses probably start in somebody's garage, or something like that. it's definitely a growth, rite of passage, whatever you want to call it. There's just a progression that goes through that. And if you have, if you're set up and you have the situation where you can afford your studio and stuff starting out, great. That's awesome. More power to you. But like you said, I mean, there's things that you learn along the way that you can't get anywhere else by starting, hitting the ground running. I mean, you got to start with a walk, you got to jog, and then you can run, but the studio thing was, that was several years in the making, and I feel like I got lucky. It's a combination of luck, planning, waiting, being patient, and then just kind of working with what you have and making that work. Yeah.